Hello, everyone. Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo. I am going to share today really something that allows us to be in a whole different connection with our body, and something that I, as a physician, as someone who's intuitive and can see energy, have really seen as a major foundation for how we allow the body to heal itself. And that is to start relating to it as a thing, and I'm this thing, and I'm in survival, and I've got to do this, and I've got to make it happen, and I've got to control. And it really clamps down our physiology. Like, it keeps us in fight or flight, sometimes all the time. For a lot of people, it's like living in fight or flight all the time, identifying as a body, right? Because as a physical body, I have a beginning and an end. I'm finite. I'm physical, so I'm separate, right? This is over there, I'm over here. And so I'm lacking, right? If I got to get what I need, I have to go out there and get it. It's not already here in me. I'm separate. I'm limited, I'm lacking. And also there's fear, because if I have a beginning and an end, geez, I got to make sure that doesn't happen. And I've got to control my reality. And so it clamps the nervous system down into fear. It sends messages to the digestive system that significantly limit the health. We can't be absorbing nutrients and doing the general housekeeping if we're like running from the tiger in fear. Every part of our system is going to be affected by that, right? So it's like very detrimental to the health. And when we relate, as I'm going to share in this broadcast today, in this new way, it's exactly the opposite. So you've probably heard me say, we are an infinite being. I'm an infinite being having a physical experience. I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience. I'm not a physical being. As soon as we identify as physical, we get into that sort of detrimental physiology that shuts down health. If I remember that I'm not a body, I'm here with my body, it's a whole different thing. And so this concept of how to take good care of my human, right? I'm not this physical human. I am here with this human. I am here for this human. I am here to assist this human. And so the human, which is like your system, right? You think I'm this physical thing, but if you cut off the arm, are you less you? If you cut off the legs, are you less you? If all you have, because we've had, people have just a limited part of their physical body, are you still you? Yeah, right. And then people might say, well, if I cut off my head because I'm the brain, you're not actually the brain. Your mind is throughout your entire being. There's parts of the mind, meaning thinking cells in the heart. There's thinking cells in the gut. So it's not actually the brain either. So we understand there's this system, and it's a highly, highly intelligent system in this body, in this human system. And I am the consciousness animating it. I am the consciousness noticing it. I am the consciousness caring for it. So when you remember, wait a minute, how do I take good care of my human? You're already not identifying as the human. You're already not identifying as my pathology or my illness or my trauma history. You are the one who is here to witness it. You are the one here to care for it. So I'm going to share in this broadcast today how to take good care of your human, what that means, what it does for you when you approach your humanity this way, and some tools to work with that. So welcome to everyone who's here live. I love hearing where you're tuning in from. We have Nadine, Jody from Canada, Nat, hello, Tara, thank you. Someone on Facebook from Denmark, Nelia from Massachusetts, that's where I was raised. Someone in Facebook, hello, Lisa, hello from Philadelphia, I love you, thank you. I love you, thank you too. Jorge from Costa Rica, Jersey Mike, hello, in the alignment. Janelle from Oklahoma City, Nat from Paris, great to see you. Malva from Sweden, Natasha from Paris, Barb's, hello from UK, Christine from New Hampshire, Anna, have Michelle, lots of other people joining. Thank you for being here. All right, and hello to everybody who are in Instagram as well. If you're in, you can watch this broadcast in our Facebook group, the MindBody Community. Everyone is invited to participate there. If you're in YouTube, make sure you subscribe if you want to continue being updated with what we're doing, and you can hit the bell to be alerted when we come in live. All right, hello, Julie, Elka. Great to have you guys here. Okay, so the first piece that's really important to understand, if I am now in this relationship of like, oh, how do I care for my human? So there's the human, which is like a collection of programs. The human has this history or like these traumas that happen or these beliefs, and it's holding all of this. These are actually cellular messages, cellular communication. So if you had, it's funny when people talk about, well, I've never had any trauma, but the actual truth is it's traumatic to be born and raised in a society that teaches us that our value lies outside ourselves. It's traumatic to be raised in a society that teaches us we are valueless other than our doing. It's traumatic to be raised in a society that teaches us our worth is outside of us and conditional, right? You got to get the degree, or you got to make money, or so-and-so has to love me. I've got to be acceptable. And then I get the love. That alone is traumatic to an infinite being that knows I am love. I am light. I am infinitely worthy. I am powerful. Right? To come into this society and have it be like, oh, no, your power is outside of you. But if you do what we want, we'll give you a little bit as we go. Whoa, that is like so painful and limiting. So even if you don't know, like, well, I was raised pretty well, I don't really have any traumas, this probably doesn't apply to me. When people talk about this kind of thing, it actually does pretty universally. So the human has this way, let me use a little diagram here, that we've bought into these ideas and beliefs of this society, like I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, love is conditional, I better do the right thing, I better do the good thing, I better give to others and suppress, ignore myself, right? So we learn this alignment. So let me just see, we got the human over here holding the collective consciousness, belief systems, which is BS, assumptions, beliefs, judgments, traumas, etc. Okay, so you have this human holding all of this in the system. Now, it's not only held energetically, it's held physiologically, meaning the cellular messages going from one cell to the other, hormones, neurotransmitters are delivering and carrying these messages, right? Like, clamp down, close, don't let anyone see your true self, don't express. Just hold it together. If you're bright and shiny and happy, people will love you, right? So then we live like from here up. Everything's okay. And we actually disconnect from sensation and awareness of what's in the system. So anybody, when we do the instant elevation and we do the first step is awareness, right? Aware. How are you feeling in this moment? I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm not feeling anything, right? It's this like, whoa, something must be wrong. Maybe I'm broken. No, it's a practice. You have practiced your brain into paying attention to certain kinds of information and totally disregarding other kinds of information. So it's like, what's happening outside of me? Did they like me? Did that go well? Did I say the right thing? And a disconnection from, ooh, that feels kind of heavy, or that feels joyful, I'm excited, kind of information. So when you ask people like, what's your passion? What do you love? Who are you really? They're like, I don't know. Or they define themselves by these outer things, right? Like, I'm an accountant, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a wife and a mother. And they have an identity that sort of gives them a sense of self, but they don't actually have like a moment to moment connection with their own being. So this is how most people's human setup is. Doesn't matter. This is, we're going to move this. But just so you know, the human is like a collection of beliefs, which is like belief system, BS, assumptions, judgments, ideas, traumas, memories, your upbringing, the programs. Okay. So it's holding this not only cellularly with like the messages throughout the cells, but even in your DNA. So some of the stuff that's being held in, we're going to call the human system, doesn't even apply to your lifetime. Meaning, like if your grandparents lived through the Depression and they embedded into their system, we gotta save, we can't live so fully, we've got to survive, let's close down and survive. That gets passed on in the DNA. So you might realize, like, why do I have so many like money issues? I've never really had lack, and why did I? Maybe it wasn't in your upbringing. But if it's in your DNA, you might not find it. Like you're like, I never had to be homeless. I never like was starving and couldn't eat. Why do I have these money issues? It can be in your DNA and in your lineage. Okay, so the DNA, the cells, the system energetically carries this data. It's okay. It can be transmuted a lot more easily than you might think. So we, as the being, let me use a different color. The being, I'm going to say the being that I am. I'm an infinite being. I am abundant. I am powerful. I am creative. And it's like, what are you talking about? I'm an abundant, powerful, and creative. Look at my bank account. Look at my health issues. Look at this. And you have all the evidence, right? Because you're identifying as the human. So it would be like feeding that idea, right? I'm limited. But if you remember, I am the being observing the human, right? I am the oversoul. I am going to observe. I am going to nurture. I am going to love, which means I accept what's here as it's here. I accept what is as it is. Like a lot of times we're like, but if I accept it, it will just get worse. No, the human, the system thrives on love and acceptance. It actually creates an energy field around the human. I know this is like squished on one side, but that is more expansive. So the human system, this is like if you walk into a room filled with people who are like, rah, 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 why don't want to do this? Why do you want to do that? Arguing, or you go to like a political meeting or something like that, or a board meeting at the school, I don't know, your system will contract because it will ping on all of these little dingers, right? The thoughts, the beliefs, the judgments, and it will light up, and then you feel contracted, and maybe you feel angry, or maybe you feel powerless, or who knows what. If you go into an energy field that is expansive, maybe it's a person who's like very accepting and loving. Oh, I just love this person. It's because you love how you feel when you are with them or thinking about them. So sometimes people could go into a sacred space, right? Like you go to a church and pray, or any kind of sacred space, and you feel that expansion, or you're with someone who you just feel so loved and accepted. Your system expands. That actually makes space for these programs to rewrite. Very, very important, because if we're like doing etheric surgery, you're like, I got to change the belief system. Oh, this trauma, how do I get it out? It's going to take you multiple lifetimes to kind of work with that. What if instead I bring this space? So I'm going to write a few things that create this, right? Because it's, I'm nurturing my system, right? I am loving, accepting it as it is. I am bringing presence. Totally, totally different than let me go in and fix it that a lot of people are trying to do. Presence is medicine. So we bring presence, which is observe, right? I'm going to notice, right? And a lot of times when I do the ABC, right? If you haven't gone through the Instant Elevation course, which is a really, really powerful way of how do I work with my system? How do I nurture my human, right? It's very powerful. How I come into presence lets my cells vibrate at a different frequency, lets the belief systems recalibrate and move out of the system. And so we did the Instant Elevation Challenge. It was the 5-day manifestation challenge. It was like a month ago, or well, it's actually in December. And you can revisit that. It's on my YouTube channel, Dr. Kim Duramo. Really powerful way to allow this recalibration. It's so much easier than you think. Now, if you identify as I am the human, then it's like, I've got to go out and get the answers. How should I eat my diet? What supplements should I do? What things should I avoid? Right? I got to fix it. I got to manage it. But we don't realize we're doing it from the same consciousness of what's here, from the consciousness of the separation, the fear, the lack, from the consciousness of the trauma, I'm broken, versus from the consciousness of the being. I am infinite. I have no beginning and no end. I am already whole. How do I approach this human system, right? So non-judgment, we'll write that on the thing as well. Non-judgment. I notice what I notice. Oh, I'm feeling really contracted today. Oh, there's tears. Oh, there's pain. Now I can be an observer and address what's happening versus be in reactor. I am what's happening. How do I change it? And then I'm really limited because what happens when I go into reactor, right? I'm reactive. Gotta fix this. It closes down the brain. You can't see, you can't sense, you can't have the awareness, you can't have the knowing, wisdom, and intelligence to let in the solution. You can only go back to the higher self, we'll call it the higher self, the being, the essence of what you are, and observe, approach, presence, and respond from that space. One of the things that happens a lot of times is people think if I go into the being, then I'm ignoring what's here. And like nothing could be further from the truth. Because think about it. If I love, embrace, accept, witness, and really am aware of what's here, am I more or less able to respond accordingly? Am I more or less able to take care of myself? I'm more or less willing to do what's required, like way more. But when I'm in the small self, freaking out, reacting, the brain closes down. I can't even see other than like, tunnel vision. Am I more or less capable of taking care of what's going on? Way less, because not only do I not have the insight to even know what that would be, I don't have the energy because I'm short-circuited. I'm going to overwhelmed at like, the drop of a hat. I was with someone recently and like every little thing that would happen was like immensely overwhelming. And like, I'm just freaking out and I'm so upset because so-and-so posted this. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. And it would just topple the whole system. So yeah, way less capable and way less aware of what are the solutions, what needs to happen here. All right, how is this responding? Thank you, Julia from New Zealand. Someone in Facebook, hello, beautiful humans, Sweden in the house. Paul from Vancouver. All right, how is this resonating? Great to be here with you guys. So what do we do to take care of the human? The first and most important thing, and it will seem like nothing, which is why so many people don't do it, is to go into the being. Go into the being. So Relax your body. Take a deep breath. Remember what we're sharing here. Remember, wait a minute, I'm an infinite being having a physical experience. Now, it won't land because you're in the human. You're like, that doesn't make any sense, right? So you've got to first transition your awareness into this space. Kind of cool. We've used these different colors, I think. So we're in this denser space, totally identified with what's happening, and so therefore in fear and closed down. Then we go here. So all you got to do is, I'm noticing that I'm in pain. Say that out loud. Say it now, right now, because if you practice witnessing and noticing and like saying it out loud, you're going to have that as a go-to when you're in the contraction. Oh, I notice that I'm in pain. That's very general, right? It could even be more specific. I notice my body is shut down. My heart is closed. Wow. I'm noticing I'm triggered, right? That alone is enough. I'm noticing I'm triggered, because who's noticing that who is triggered, right? I am is the being. I am infinite. I am creative. I am powerful. I am resourced. I am connected. I am whole. Now, if you're not residing there, that's not going to make any sense. First have to go there, right? And then who is in pain? This I am, this human. Oh, I notice my human is contracting right now. I notice my human is triggered. I notice when so-and-so said that thing that they always say, my human really shut down, and there's anger. So you first have to go to this aspect of self, the true self. You're not this body. You're not this collection of programs. You're not a physical thing. Okay, so, oh, I'm noticing I'm triggered. So think of a bunch of things right now you can notice, like what's happening in this moment. As JF said, I have 2 close people in my life for whom everything is a 5-alarm fire. I cannot get in that with them anymore. It's their journey, not mine. Yes, so welcome everything that brings up in you. Welcome all the ways you maybe thought you have to stay in that with them or help them through it or whatever that was, right? Because that's part of your human programming, right? Oh, I can see I had this idea that I need to save them or help them or explain it so that they stop and they understand. And that's just because I'm uncomfortable meeting the pain that arises in me trying to take care of them. I notice I have this idea that I'm supposed to take care of them. Oh, wow, fascinating. That's enough, because that already opened and made space for the dissolution of the program. Muscle spasms and pain is scary. Good. So I notice there's muscle spasms and pain, and it triggers fear. It's good to notice both. It's never just a physical. Katie, I'm noticing I'm overweight. Yeah, you probably can notice something more too, like if there's a judgment about what you're supposed to weigh and what you weigh, because overweight is not as linearly identified as you may think. Like, here's what you should weigh, and you're over that. Oh, well, here's what I should weigh according to whom? According to some idea in a book, according to some studies. It's an idea in and of itself. So maybe you're noticing I'm not comfortable in my body. I'm noticing I'm carrying extra energy in my body, right? Whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, I'm carrying this weight. I'm carrying extra that isn't really me, isn't actually fluid. That might be an even deeper piece to notice. Yep, I can't endeavor to guide, advise, or save anyone. It'll end me. I will not have that. Michelle, I am noticing I have chronic pain in the pelvis and vaginal area chronically every day. Good. So who is noticing it? That's perfect. Go here. Wow, I'm noticing there's tension in this area of my body, or there's pain in this area of my body. Now, just the noticing it is enough. But I want you to also move toward curiosity. What might that be? What might I be holding? If I did know, what might that be about? Not because you want information, because you want to drop into the space where it's being held. So now it's the self observing the human. Hey, little human, what's here? Hey, pelvis, how are you doing? What's going on? It's always like a child. You have a little child and the child's like, oh, I don't want to tell you, nothing's wrong. Or my 9-year-old should be like, nothing. Right. And so obviously it's something. Or our little 4-year-old who would just be like, ah. So we teach him to express his emotions and he's like, bad. Okay, invite that. What would it be like if I'm like, you shouldn't be mad? Now he's going to like have shame. It's not going to be helpful for expression, for me being aware of what is needed here. What can I do to nurture him? So invite expression, even from the pelvis, even if it seems to make things intensify. Because a pelvis that's closed down and not going to show you, but now there's like pain and inflammation and like, try to make a kid be quiet when they're upset. I don't want to hear you cry. They're like, the energy's still there. And now they're going to really scream because it's more painful to try to suppress it. It's the same with your body. So, hey, pelvis, what's going on? And the pelvis is like, nothing, right? Because it's been 40 years of teaching her to shut down. So you might have to just be a little more present. Okay, I love you. I'm here. And I know this with my 9-year-olds. It's okay. If you want to let me know, you can know. And it's okay whenever that happens. No, there's nothing going on, right? But if I'm present to her and I love her and I welcome her closure, she'll open. Why? Because that's her natural state. Our natural state, the natural state of the human is opening. Receptivity, letting in vitality, letting in love, nurturance. The natural state of the human is thriving. So we've got to let this into the human, right? Presence being welcoming, accepting, loving, non-judgment into the system. Oh, hey, pelvis. What's going on? Now, what are we usually doing? God, what's wrong with my pelvis? Oh, my body is betraying me. Come on, body. Give me a break. Can't we just finally get up and do something? Right? That's like telling your kid, oh, seriously, are you going to do this again? Don't you know we need to go to school? You really have to have a problem all the time? Right? And what are you teaching that kid? Mom's not safe. You're teaching the system, the human, it's not safe to open. I'm going to be crushed. I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be medicated, whatever that will look like, right? The natural state of the child, the natural state of the human is opening, receptivity, joy. So we presence, hey, pelvis, what's going on? Curiosity, right? Which is an open receptivity. If I have judgment, come on, Gemma, what's going on? Or if I have an agenda, don't you know we're late for school? Okay, tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on so we can get to school on time. Now, is that open, loving, accepting presence, or is that agenda presence? Like completely night and day. To the mind, you're like, I'm listening. But to the system, like, no effing way. I'm not going to be fooled because nature knows the difference between conditional and unconditional love. So can I open and presence, hey, pelvis, what's going on? How are you? Without agenda. I've been presencing my pelvis every day and I still don't know. It's not working. Yeah, if you're saying it's not working, it's 100% of the time because you have an agenda. Oh, so you got to get over the, I'm not allowed to have an agenda. I mean, isn't it natural to want to feel well? Kind of BS. Because that doesn't need to be involved for healing to happen because it's your natural state. It's the natural state of the human that when the human, the system gets that kind of presence, it will open. It will open. So you don't have to have an agenda. Okay. So you come in, you presence what's here. You stay open. Now, in the first 5 minutes or 5 days, it might be like, nothing. Or it might just be like, ah! And all you get is, there's just pain. Keep opening. Keep opening to be curious. Keep opening to listen. But listen with your entire being. fully present, feeling every cell in your body, fully present, bringing full presence to the equation of the human system, not conditional presence. What happens is, there's two things. The body begins to open. And sometimes things can intensify because all the bats are flying out of hell and everything I suppressed and held is no longer suppressed. It's released. So maybe it's like, crying and tears and movement and a lot of breath. Breathe the human. Breathe your human every day. Breathe your human as often as you can. Because the human knows how to release energy. The system knows how to release what it's holding. But it's probably not getting what it needs to do that. And make space. Yes, show me, show me, show me. And then the human system might be like, yes, show me, show me. Because what does society do? Oh, what's wrong with you? You should be happy. You shouldn't express that. Oh no, oh no, 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 no. So then it's like, let's just find a better way to hold it in. Not going to work. Not going to work for creating vitality, for creating joy, for creating authenticity. I love my life. I'm with these people that, wow, I really feel accepted. I really feel received, right? Not going to create authenticity and work because you're like, I don't know what I want to do. And if I did, I'd be too afraid to choose it. Right? So that shutdown is not going to work to have a real life, like an alive life. Only this is what will be the medicine. Okay, so we enter, we connect, we get curious, right? What's here? We nurture, we accept. That's why we just shared about the Tapping World Summit, which is going on right now, which is one of my favorite online events that's done in the year. And it's a great way to nurture your human. Right? You're tapping out the meridians. You're acknowledging what's here, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, even if it's, I'm not feeling anything, or I'm feeling so scared, I don't want to do this. Whatever it is, I can acknowledge it. I can witness it. I can make space for it because that's what lets the energy move. So that's a beautiful way to nurture your human. The link for that, it's a free summit. And I'm speaking in there about anxiety, right? Mind, body, medicine, and tapping, EFT tapping for anxiety, which I think is going to be a massive, massive shift in the collective to just begin to release fear as the way of doing life and actually let wisdom be our new way, love our new way of doing life. So my session in the Tapping Summit is on anxiety. The link for that is, actually, if you're in Instagram, you can go into my bio and it's there. If you are here in YouTube or Facebook, we will post the link right in here. It's in the MindBody community. We've been sharing it in a bunch of places. But these are the ways to let the body open, to let the system open. Do not identify with it. What's wrong with me? Do not try to fix it. You are the being observing it. Your presence lets it heal. So yes, when you have muscle spasms and pain and it's scary, when you have a diagnosis, you have this thing and everything you're making that mean, it can be scary. My sister was diagnosed with Bell's palsy. It caused panic and fear, right? Which will only enhance the Bell's palsy because neurologic inflammation is going to be accentuated, right? It's going to more clamp down on the vessels feeding that nerve instead of the opposite, okay? We got Bell's palsy. What needs to happen? So going into being doesn't mean we ignore, doesn't mean we overcome. I'm not physical, so it doesn't matter. No. We are infinitely more capable, able, and aware of what needs to happen. Thank you, Alicia, for sharing the link to the Tapping Summit, bit.ly/Tapping Summit 2022. And she shared it right here in Facebook. What else do we have? I notice my body holds a lot of contraction and I keep feeding it because it causes me to constantly want to fix it. So that increases the contraction. You'll see if you notice it. All right, we got this contraction. The first thing that might come up is, I'm noticing it. Why is it still here? Frustration. Okay, the need to control, right? If I let go, what if it stays there forever, right? The fear. If I let go, right? Because you realize on some level that clamping down and tensing and trying to control it is actually adding to the pain and inflammation and disease. But at the same time, you don't know another way because you've learned your being is meaningless. Being isn't doing, and therefore it has no impact or power, which is the biggest lie that's like right under our noses. When I move into being, the body immediately begins to open. So is that going to move disease more toward healing or more toward contraction? More toward healing. Little bit of opening. Even if symptoms intensify when I first begin, because when I'm suppressing them, I'm kind of keeping some level of them down. Even if it's like 10 out of 10, then when I open, it's like, whoa, the floodgates. But it might be like 10 seconds because it's an energetic release. Horrible allergies, and I'm always trying to fix it. Yep, inflammation. Every time we're in human instead of witnessing human, inflammation. Would this work to help get rid of bloating? Yes. And it's really very direct, meaning when I move more into being, I witness my human. Hey, human, how you doing? There's immediately an electromagnetic shift throughout the entire body, moving toward a lighter frequency, which moves everything physically, mentally, and emotionally toward health. So physiological inflammation, or like the gut microbiome is like, all the bad bacteria, shifts frequency. Those bacteria cannot thrive in this new environment. The little gap junctions, little tight junctions between the cells that line your gut. Those little junctions, if they're loose, you don't have enough vitamin D or whatever's going on, stuff seeps into the body, like the outer world. You eat food and then it gets in and kind of bypasses that lining. Well, that's really, really harmful because now your immune system's like, what's all this stuff? Versus you got healthy junctions. So you eat your food, the cells absorb the food, and what's wanted goes in, into the body, and what's unwanted gets released. You poop it out, right? So you want to keep those junctions, cellular connections, nice and healthy. What happens when you're in stress, inflammation, fear, suppressed emotions? It's like it all opens up. You got inflammation. Everything's, it's called leaky gut. Everything's leaking in. It stimulates the whole immune system. Then it might be if you go to the allopathic doctor, they're like, you have arthritis. You have autoimmune disease. You have seasonal allergies, right? So it will look like this, but what's actually happening is your state, your frequency, your consciousness is driving a pathology in your body. So as soon as you shift your consciousness from, hey body, how are you? What's going on? Immediate electromagnetic shift, immediate. And yes, followed by physical cellular changes as well. How do you see our role in the face of others' suffering, especially those who are dear to us? This is a great question. So when I remember that my system is a giant receiver, I'm picking up information and awareness. I am also a giant transmitter. I'm sending out a signal and energy. I'm not separate from those others. So something happens like, my friend's dad just died and she's devastated and I've got to help her. Oh, wait a minute. How's my human? Oh, my human is scared. Oh, my human wants to save her. It's uncomfortable letting her have her pain. Oh, my human feels guilty. Like I'm not a good friend if I'm happy today. Okay, let me align the universe of my human first, because Nothing, no impact you have in the world can be good when you're in an inflamed system. So you're like, let me call her on the phone. Let me just tell her it'll be okay. I just need her to feel better so that I don't feel so much fear and grief or guilt or whatever's coming up. Oh, wait a minute. When XYZ is happening to that other person, I am feeling blah, 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 right? I'm in my being. Have to come back here. Everything you do that's from here, let me call her, let me do this, let me just make sure I do whatever to try to make things better because I don't really want to feel what this brings up in me. It's so inconvenient. Can you just like take care of yourself? That's what it is, right? So it's reaction versus responding from wholeness. Oh, well, now that I've cleaned up the guilt around this, I feel compassion. I feel love. I love this friend. Oh, I'm inspired. Let me make her some food and just leave it at the doorstep. I don't need to say anything. Right? A very different action might happen versus let me call her every 5 minutes. You know, when we're in reaction, it's kind of like we do the opposite thing of what really helps. So when we let other people have their pain, because we are willing to meet our own, they grow, we all come into more wholeness. Mm-hmm. There's certain foods that can increase frequencies. So it's a good question. I'm going to first just say when we more and more enter the I am pure energy, I know this is going to create a lot of what, but I do want to say it. We are less in judgment about food, good food, bad food, clean food, unclean food. And we are less, the body is less reactive to those foods. In fact, that's all I'm going to say on that. I purchased your anxiety course in 2021. Is this, no, that is not the same as the free summit. The Tapping World Summit, they've done every year. I think they're on like 14, maybe. I've been a part of it for maybe like 12 years. And this is, we're using EFT tapping, which I do use in my MindBody Solution for Anxiety and Depression course as well. And this is just all different takes of like EFT tapping for harmonizing your relationships, EFT tapping for your health, EFT tapping for your relationship with money and your experience with money. So lots of different experts in tapping using EFT tapping and teaching how to use it in many different ways. What else? I've never heard you deliver a more brilliant overview. Hold on a second. And insightful explanation of how and what we are, oops, and where to go from here. OMG, thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Well, I have been meditating lately, and that's really deepening my connection with myself. So that's a great kind of confirmation of how going deeper within ourselves doesn't always feel good. In fact, a lot of it this month has been like, oh, there's just so much coming up. It's not like, oh, I feel so good, I meditated. It's like, wow, I'm really meeting deeper and deeper aspects of myself that I was unconscious of from just sitting and presencing my body and breathing. So, but it does greatly increase our frequency, and it does, I think for sure, allow a deeper truth to express itself through me and my work. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to look at a couple more. The Tapping Summit is great. I've done it the last 4 or 5 years. Awesome. You can also purchase the Ortners put this summit on, and then they have a compilation of the whole thing. So it's free if you listen to it that day. Each day there's new speakers. I would definitely recommend purchasing the kit, the set, because you have it for your library and it's worth it. I've found it to be just excellent. And I know this year is one of the best ones. So I sleep, my brain does not sleep. What should I do? It's the same thing. Body, what do you need? Here we are, body. What's required? And you can even do, I have an EFT meditation. It's like a sleep meditation that you do before sleep. And that's a great way to just let your body know, body, you can release whatever you're holding. So that's the other thing, right? And that's at drkimd.com/sleep. You're like, I'm checking in. My body's like, oh, I don't want to go to sleep. Maybe you're really riled up. Here I am. It's okay. You can use Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. The Instant Elevation program has tons of really powerful tools. Pick one of them. And that helps really recalibrate what's happening. Body, it's okay to let this go. Take all the time you need, right? I have no agenda. Take all the time you need. The body knows how to let it go. The body knows how to heal itself, just like the kid knows. No, everything's fine. The kid knows, like, I'm really not fine. I'm kind of mad that you did da 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 da. And it's some random thing. You're like, oh my God, I didn't even remember I did that. So your kid can just keep holding out on you, or you make space so your kid's like, all right, let me open and share. The very interesting caveat here is that the kid, the self, doesn't consciously know it when you're in closure. So it's like, no, I really don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah, because you haven't opened your field to let that awareness in yet. So I know with Gemma, like when I'm present to her, she'll all of a sudden become aware of like exactly what she's really feeling and exactly what she's really holding. Yes, transmutation. Oh, cool. I think you have a transmutation video on YouTube, about half an hour. This is a meditation. Okay, great. So you can find that in my YouTube channel. All right, I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Laverne said, I laughed until I cried watching this. So much resonating. Barbara said, I've used that tapping solution for sleep for years, and it's fabulous. I've also discovered if I still can't fall back asleep, presencing is what nails it. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Harder with teens. My 15-year-old is so angry he doesn't want to feel it. Well, it will take more presence from you, because usually what we're feeling at that age at 15 is really deep and really profound and really painful to hold it in. So it's not like they're trying to be difficult or that teens are harder. It's just more challenging for us because we're like, come on, I'm present. Why don't you open up? Why are you making me work so hard? Versus like, I will meet myself in the depth of the pain you're in, known and unknown, because I love you. I will meet myself beyond what I thought I needed to meet myself, so that I can presence a depth that matches where you are residing. Okay, lots of love, everybody. I will be here every week on Wednesday at 11 a.m. You can join the MindBody community in Facebook, because that is where we are continuing the conversation. I'm at drkimd.com. You can subscribe there for MindBody resources, updates on what we have going on, and any new programs or courses or live events that we are doing, drkimd.com. And definitely subscribe on YouTube, because I'm always sharing more videos and connecting there. And you can like this video if you're in YouTube, because that allows more people to see it. It will pop up for them who are looking for content like this, who are looking for this kind of awareness, and you will be supporting them as well when you are commenting, liking, subscribing, so that more people can find this work. All right, lots of love to you. I will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you for the amazing picture. Yes, here you are. May you take an image. And there you've got it, the solution to everything. Well, at least a little bit of a peek into possibility. Love you guys. Bye.